Slavery is not just a thing of the past. It exists today, although now we call it human trafficking. Welcome back to the series Saints for Today. Saints are people who lived heroic lives of virtue, and their words and their examples were not just relevant to the times and places where they lived. Instead, many times their words and their examples are still relevant today. And Blessed Peter Donders is one such example. He was a Redemptorist missionary from the Netherlands who traveled to Suriname and for 45 years worked with the indigenous people, the lepers, and the slaves on the plantations. Throughout his ministry, he decried the slavery that he saw, and he consistently asked the slave owners to treat their slaves with respect and dignity because they were children of God. In a letter that he wrote to a priest friend back in the Netherlands, he writes, "Woe, woe to Suriname on that great day of judgment. Woe, woe indeed, 1,000 woes to the European owners of the slaves on the plantations, to the administrators, to the directors, to the foremen who have authority over the slaves. Damned are those who enrich themselves with the sweat and blood of these unfortunate people who have no one to defend them except God." Throughout his ministry, he calls for an end to slavery. He wants the slaves to be freed and to be treated like the children of God that they are. As I mentioned before, slavery exists today, but we call it human trafficking. It's the situation in which individuals are forced into a labor outside and beyond their willingness, typically in the sex trade or working in subhuman conditions such as in a sweatshop. Law enforcement agencies throughout the world are investigating human trafficking crimes, trying to rescue these people from the terrible situations that they find themselves in. For example, between March 28th and April 2nd, Interpol headed an operation in Europe and in Africa involving 24 countries where almost 500 victims of human trafficking were rescued, the youngest of whom was 10. Woe, woe to those involved in our world today who traffic other human beings for their own profit and their own gain. But woe too to us, because we are the eyes and the ears, the hands and the feet of God in our world, and we also have an obligation to speak up and do what we can to try to end this modern slavery. What are some steps that we can take? First, we can pray. We can pray for the victims that they will be liberated. We can pray for the traffickers that they will have a change of heart and stop their involvement in this tremendously sinful action. We can pray for the law enforcement agencies that are investigating these crimes and trying to liberate these individuals. And we can also pray for the social service agencies who are providing services such as counseling to help these victims. We can also learn and be aware of the signs of human trafficking so that when we are out and about in the shopping center, in the grocery store, traveling on a plane, riding in the train, we are aware of the people around us. And if we encounter a situation where someone may be being trafficked, we know the signs and we can step in and get help. Finally, we can research the companies where we do business. We can find out whether they use unjust and unfair labor practices. if they have production facilities overseas? Are the workers working in sweatshops? And when we do this research, and if we find that a particular company is doing these things, do we stop giving them our money? Do we complain to them and say, this must end, and take our business elsewhere? Or do we continue to support them because we like the low prices? Woe to us in this world as God's hands and feet, eyes and ears, if we do not fulfill our obligation to end modern slavery. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you know of other people who would enjoy it, feel free to share it with them. Also, if you have comments, feel free to add them in the comment section below. And if you have ideas or suggestions for other reflections that you'd like to hear, please feel free to add them below in the comment section. Thank you very much, and may God bless each one of you.